Partnership for Sustainable Development was the theme of the New Development Bank's 4th annual meeting, which took place in Cape Town, South Africa, from the 31st of March to the 2nd of April 2019. The annual meeting was convened in South Africa for the first time. At the meeting, the NDB announced plans to increase its impact and almost double its loan book to $16 billion in 2019. As the bank seeks to broaden its global development partnerships and mobilize more institutional and private capital.
In 2019, the bank will build on the strong momentum in our operations and aims to more than double its loan approval book to about $16 billion. The bank will ramp up its hard currency financing from the international capital markets.
The 2019 annual meeting theme recognized the importance of strengthening collective efforts and partnerships to bridge the infrastructure gap and address development needs of the bank's member countries of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, as well as other emerging markets and developing countries.
The expectation from this engagement is that there will be greater understanding in all areas of mutual cooperation among development partners.
The 4th annual meeting brought together senior government officials from BRICS, leaders of multilateral and national development institutions, distinguished scholars, prominent commercial bankers, captains of industry, and representatives of civil society organizations. The NDB's Board of Governors appreciated that in 2018, the bank's loan portfolio had risen to approximately $8.1 billion. In line with the NDB's focus on supporting infrastructure and sustainable development projects, the bank's Board of Directors approved 5 loans worth approximately $1.2 billion during its 18th meeting on the 31st of March 2019. 5 projects which were approved during the board's meeting bring the total amount of the bank's portfolio to over $9.2 billion, namely the Jiazhuang Green Urban Project, Shenzhou Urban and Rural Integrated Water Supply and Sanitation Project, Phase 2 in China, Guangxi Zhongzhou Urban Water System Ecological Restoration Project in China, Environmental Protection Project for Medupi Thermal Power Plant in South Africa, Renewable Energy Sector Development Project on lent by South Africa's Industrial Development Corporation, and the Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2, wherein the NDB will provide a project loan of 3.2 billion rands, approximately $220 million to Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, TCTA. 3 projects from South Africa approved by the board with loans aggregating to approximately $780 million brought the total amount of approvals for South Africa to over $1.4 billion. The 3 South African projects are a reflection of the bank's commitment to bridging the infrastructure gap in South Africa by supporting projects tailored to the country's needs and fully respecting its development priorities and strategies. In keeping with the theme of sustainability at this year's annual meeting, the bank signed a $180 million loan agreement with Eskom to fund the integration of 670 megawatts of renewable energy into South Africa's power grid, as well as a 2-step $300 million loan to the Development Bank of Southern Africa, DBSA, to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases and support renewable energy in South Africa. In addition to the board's meetings, the NDB 4th annual meeting brought together thought leaders in government, academia, finance, environment, law, and more in a series of seminars and side events. Seminar 1, themed Leveraging International Financial Infrastructure for Sustainable Development, featured a keynote speech by Paul Romer, 2018 Nobel laureate in economic sciences, and was moderated by Leradombele Roberts, BBC Business News anchor. Speakers at the event were NDB governors, senior officials from ministries of finance, central banks, and government agencies. Seminar 2, which was themed Financing Sustainable Infrastructure, was moderated by South African economist Dr. Thabi Leoka. Investment in infrastructure has been for a long time a backbone of inclusive economic growth in developing countries and emerging economies. Closing the infrastructure gap needs both spending more on traditional and social infrastructure, but also spending differently, transforming the way infrastructure is planned, developed, and operated. It is crucial to incorporate sustainability criteria to ensure this infrastructure safeguards the physical and social environment for current and future generations. These considerations were the focus of Seminar 2. It brought together senior representatives from NDBs, national development banks, UN agencies, leading financial institutions, and prominent scholars in the field of development economics and finance. Seminar 3, under the theme Sustainable Infrastructure for a Better Future, was moderated by Ms. Dora Modise, CEO of the SA Green Building Council and environmentalist. The panel of speakers included scholars, social and environmental experts, and representatives of civil society organizations. Side events included legal aspects of PPP and local currency lending for sustainable development, building sustainable credit history, and partnerships and sustainable support for municipal infrastructure. Annual meeting participants shared with us their thoughts on the theme and content of the annual meeting and their hopes for the NDB's impact.
I think one of the things that stood out for me in the 2 sessions that I've attended so far is this idea of doing local currency bonds from within the NDB, which is quite an innovative approach.
For me, being a banker, the ability to see how we could partner with the NDB and try to get a funding model that works so we could put infrastructure into South Africa and into Africa.
This conference puts everything good about the NDB together in terms of being in a spectacular city of one of the member countries, having really interesting but at the same time relevant discussions, and very well attended in terms of participation.
The NDB held a successful 4th annual meeting in Cape Town, South Africa, supported by high-level representatives of the bank's 5 member countries, the private sector, fellow NDBs, and a diversity of voices from civil society.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the bank should aim at making a significant contribution to societal well-being. This is a matter of existential importance. Our shareholders have given us a very clear mandate which resonates with their own aspirations. We are committed to deliver on our mandate. We are on an exciting journey to contribute to making the world a better place for future generations, and we look forward to partnering with other stakeholders in this journey. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to a year ahead full of promise and full of delivery on our part. Thank you.